Test this voice box out real quick. Perfect. They're going to love it. Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Hey guys, and welcome back. Don Coley here with Advanced Designs. As you can tell by the title and the description, today I'm going to be explaining my 4-season dash. Now this is the latest dash that I've made, 4-season style. Few little minor tweaks on it, nothing major. But I'll go through each board and explain what everything does, and hopefully that'll answer a lot of questions that I usually get when people do email or call me up asking about my dashes and how do they compare to somebody else's and what does mine do and blah blah blah. So when you get done watching this video, all of your questions should be answered, at least if I'm good at what I'm doing, and then you can compare it with whoever else's you may be looking for. So let's get to it. I just got to do one thing real quick. There we go, that's better. So, without further delay or ado, because I just like saying the word ado, let's get to it. I'm going to unveil this 4-season dash and let you guys be the judge. And in 3, 2, 1. And there you have it. The all new, brand new Advanced Designs 4th season dash. Now I'll zoom in on this in a minute or so and explain each board in detail, but right now I do want to point out the main power board right here. On my board, the power, normal, and auto and pursuit LEDs are actually push buttons. So to turn this dash on, you simply hit the power button. And there you have it. And it wasn't deliberate, but I kind of like the fact that the dash doesn't just light straight up once the countdown is complete. There's a slight delay between various displays on the dash. I thought was really cool. So let's dig into this and let me explain what each board does. And if I've missed anything, just leave me a comment in the comment section down below and I'll get back to it in another video. So actually the first thing I want to discuss here is the new TV frame. Okay. I discussed this in the last video. I came across a molded from an original TV frame at one point, and I used that as inspiration to make another frame that fits the 8.4-inch LCD monitors. And that's how that sits in there. So this whole section comes out in one piece, and the monitor is stuck inside the frame with adhesive. It looks really good. It gives you that appearance of what you saw on the screen with modern day technology. So now onto the power board. Now as I said in the beginning of the video, the power, normal, auto, and pursuit LEDs are actually push buttons on my dash. So to switch manually from normal to auto, or auto to pursuit, or back to normal, or from normal to pursuit, and then back again. Now you can notice there's a slight, like a millisecond, half a millisecond delay between the time you actually push the button to when it actually switches over. And that mimics what was on the show. And it was predominantly more visible probably in the first and second seasons that you could tell. Over here on the left side of the board you have your voltmeter, you have an amp gauge, and you have a secondary auxiliary voltmeter. If you have a sending unit for an amp gauge, then you can actually hook it up to this meter. And if you happen to have a second battery installed in your car, which a lot of people today do, then you can hook it up to the second gauge. Now, if this dash were actually installed in a car and running, and the engine was on, then another LED would light up on the voltmeters. And that pretty much indicates that your generator is charging and your battery is in good condition. Now over here on the right side you have a 4-digit numeric display and a bank of LEDs underneath. Now what I've done on my dash is I've made the 4-digit display correspond with which red and green LED is lit up. For instance, right now it's in what's called clock mode. And going from left to right, you have an outside air temperature display, an inside air temperature display, clock display, which is in now, and a random number generator. And the random number generator just generates a random number every time you select the display. So I'll go through those functions here real quick with you. Now, if you've purchased one of my dashes in the past and you're installing it yourself, then there's a wire that can be hooked up to the switch pods, or if you so choose, it needs to be hooked up to a negative ground momentary switch. So when you press the switch, you'll watch this display right here change. Now it's in the random number generator stage, and now it's in the outside air temperature display. If I press it, if I get rid of that display again and I don't press it at all, then it'll start randomly going through its own routine. And you'll notice the outside air temperature and the inside air temperature is a little bit different, even though the dash is inside in a controlled environment. But what the difference is, the inside air temperature display is actually reading more about the circuit temperature of the boards, because it's mounted right to the circuit board, and that gives you a general idea of how hot your circuits are running. 80 degrees is not bad for circuits to be running at all. And the outside air temperature display is located outside the dash over here behind it where you can't see, so that's the difference in that. So I'm going to let that do that, and then on to the tachometer board. Now the tachometer board is self-explanatory for the most part. Of course, you have your 3-digit tachometer display. Down here you have your various gauges on the left and right. Only 3 of the gauges actually work and function because that's all you really have inside the car. And over here you have your oil pressure. Down here is your engine temperature. And over here is your fuel gallons, which is your gas gauge. Now if you happen to have sending units, you are capable of hooking these other 3 gauges up. If you want to monitor your oil temperature, here's your gauge here, or your inlet temperature, or your exhaust gas temperature. If you have sensors for all those, you can hook them up to this, and maybe with minor adjustment or recalibration, I can make it work, but they should work already. The other gauges that hook to your factory sending units were actually calibrated to work off of the factory GM sending unit. So there's nothing else you have to purchase or change out. And these gauges are 100% accurate. So going on to the speedometer board now. Alright guys, so probably the most feature-rich board on this whole dash is going to be the speedometer board. And the reason I say that is because everything does something. Okay, right down here your 9-digit search display, that is a random number that keeps generating on its own. It'll just keep doing that as this dash is running, as well as your signal and tuning bars. You can see them light up variously, different degrees and different speeds from each other. And it just makes the dash look busy, but not too busy, if that makes any sense. So up here above your 9-digit display, these banks of LEDs all have inputs. So if you have anything you want to hook up to that to make them alternate, you're welcome to do it. You can put anything. The only ones that I utilize when I install a dash is the high and low, and that's the only provision I have made personally myself. So when I install a dash, I turn your high beam indicator and run it into the input. So when you turn on your high beams, low goes off and high goes on. So they alternate and they'll switch. Okay. So over here on your odometer, you have miles, trip, and range. And you can scroll through them, again, with a momentary push button that goes to ground. You can go from miles to trip to range. So the range feature is mathematically programmed. And what that means, well, what that means in the short sense of the word is that it takes a reading from your fuel sending unit and also calculates how far you've gone based on what size gas tank you have. So it kind of gives you an estimate of how far you can go and what gas you have left. So it's not accurate right now because this dash has never been installed in a car, it's never been driven. Now, the odometer, it normally will read your 3-digit mileage plus your tenths, but it does actually read your full actual mileage. And how that's accomplished is if you hit a button on the back of the board for just a few seconds and you push it, actually not even a few seconds, as soon as you push it, it reads out your first 4 digits of your numeric display, and when you let it go, a second or so later, it goes back to reading your 3 digits plus your 10th. So that's how all of that works. And again, if you have any questions or anything about anything I'm going through tonight, leave a comment in the comment section down below and I'll answer it. So next up is the compass board. Now the compass board, of course, is exactly what it is. It's a compass. What you can't see is a sending unit, or sensor rather, back behind the dash that controls this. And I'm going to grab it and kind of rotate it here so you can see. As you go around in a circle, it reads out the direction you're headed, just like a compass you would expect to do. But this compass does a little bit more than just act as a compass. Providing 2 inputs into the board from your turn signals, it is your directional indicator as well. So, and it works off your turn signal switch lever. So if you're, if you're turning left, then your west LED will light up. And if you're turning right, well, then your east LED will light up. And it does that instantly. As soon as you turn on your signal levers, it exits compass mode, vice versa. As soon as you quit turning and your cam slips your lever, it goes right back into compass mode. Okay, so now another feature I've got built into this dash is what's called nighttime dimming. And I learned a long time ago that all these LEDs lit up full tilt in your face at nighttime is excruciating trying to drive with. And I don't think even today, I think today I actually couldn't do it. No way. But at any rate, years ago when I redesigned this dash and we went to PIC chip microprocessor controlled circuitry, I went ahead and added this feature in it. And you see this wire here, it's a yellow wire that goes to a switched plus 12 volt source. But for the benefit of this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and tie this straight to 12 volts and give you an idea how this dims. And I'll tell you a little secret. On the 4th season dashes, I go ahead and do it. It's a 10-step brightness control feature that is actually in the 2 TV dashes as well, but I don't wire that up because normally the default setting for this dimming feature is perfect for everybody, and I've never had a request to change it, and nobody's ever really changed it on their dashes here. So that's what it looks like dim, but let me turn some lights off so you can get a really good idea of what it looks like in total darkness. And there you have it. Every light in the shop is off. And this, as far as what my monitor is concerned that I'm using now to do this video with and what I'm looking at in front of me, it looks pretty consistent. So you can imagine this is what it will look like inside your car. I left the numeric displays a slight bit brighter, for a reason. They're more important. You need to really know how fast you're going, your RPM or whatever. The other gauges, you want to dim that down. Believe me, you really have to see this in person to appreciate it. Nothing, just find the light switch. Oh, well, that ain't it. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. There we go. This part of the video looks a little bit different. It's because I've already done the video and I've already done all my editing and everything, and going back through and watching, I realized I forgot to show you another feature of my dash, and so I'm going to show you that now. It's called display mode. And I'll tell you a funny little thing about this before I activate it. A customer of mine, I believe, did a video on his 4th season dash one time, and the video was just the dash in display mode. And if I'm correct, I think I remember reading in a comment section that somebody had made the statement that they wouldn't buy that dash. Who would want it if all it does is blink? So apparently they didn't know what they were watching. and it was the dash in display mode, and it looks like this. Now you can activate this with either a momentary push button to ground or a latched switch to ground. I know a lot of my customers in the past like having this, you know, at a show, and they'll just let it sit here and do its random things. The inspiration behind display mode was from that episode that I don't remember the name of, but it's when he was racing that race. It had the orange Charger in it, and he turbo boosts, and he lands down on a power line, and it shorts out kit systems, and everything just kind of goes nuts. And that's where I got this from. That's where I got the idea from, anyway. And there you have it. Now, on to the voice box. Now, the minor changes I made to the voice box and the countdown LEDs are best seen with the dash off. In the past, what I've done is I've used filter gels over top of these displays to enhance the color of the LEDs passing through. And generally, these were a little bit darker in the whole voice box area. This one I decided to lighten it back up a little bit to a more friendlier version, if you will. And I'm also using different LEDs, so I don't have to worry about color richness up in here. And I don't know if you can tell it on camera. In person, you can definitely see a big difference. So we'll power this back on. So guys, one last thing to note are the speaker grills. And I'm going to try to zoom in on them here so you can see them. And there you have it, the speaker grills. Now these are the factory speaker grills that come out of the original dash pad that I've installed in this custom dash. However, today I do manufacture grills myself. These grills that you see in this dash are from an 83 up Firebird or Trans Am. The actual 82 grills won't work in there. And if anybody's really familiar with it, the 82 speaker grills in particular just had solid lines. It didn't have this little border, like this little 1/4 inch border that you see around here. It just had straight lines all the way from front to back, and those won't work in the fiberglass dash. However, today I'm able to replicate those grills and cut those on my CNC machine, and that's what they look like today. So if you can't find a set, I can provide a set, and also make a separate type, not only just a factory looking set, but also make a set that has the Nighthead emblem in it. There you go. So I'll make either or. Alright guys, that wraps up this video, the 4th Season Dash Explained. I enjoyed making it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more content. Share this video if you liked it and you have other friends that you share the same interest with. I'm sure they'll enjoy seeing it also. And stay with me. I'll be taking you on a trip to reinstall a 2TV dash package on this car back here. As I explained in the last video, it's from Washington State. Just have a few things left to tidy up on a couple other orders, and then it's off to this, and I'll take you through the process of installing a 2TV dash package. So until then, take care.